In the early hours of Day 7 at night, the tribes merged into one tribe, where they will be voting from for the rest of the game. In the game universe, this meant that as the tribes had been in 4 different bunkers next to each other, the tribes migrated into Tribe D's bunker, and so did the NPCs that came with each tribe. The people decided to put their heads together to figure out how to survive the crisis they were facing with food running out. The Tribe A NPCs had already fixed the problem by overtaking half of the people and using them as livestock. Due to this, they were a bit distant with the other NPC groups. Postal shouted, "Perma." Perma said, "Yo, what, Waltu?" Lean said, "Put your dick away, Waltu." Postal said, "I may or may not have made a lot of bombs, like a lot." Perma said, "You've already done a terrorism." Postal said, "A terrorism I have. Wanted in 32 states I am." Perma said, "A second Postal has truly hit the towers." Pato said, "Hello ladies, the goat is here." Perma said, "My fucking guy, coming in from left field juggling his own nuts. You'd have loved Rebeck, he went on a hunt for femboys. Anyway, the fuck was your plots, because ours was fucked apart from the cabin by the lake we're not allowed to speak of." Postal said, "We blew up some fake Nazis." Pato said, "I chased a serial killer and my detective buddy killed her." Lean said, "Little St. James cabin." Pato said, "We are having public gooning sesh." Spevy asked, "Am I invited? Let's go." A really cool person asked, "Has the gooning room been constructed yet?" Pato said, "I'll make one for y'all. Also, when the fuck was Perma this hot? Why am I not gay and still this guy is hot?" Perma said, "Love you, Pato." Pato said, "Thanks, let's make out. We are both adults, right?" Then Gerald walked in on them. Pato said, "Gerald, this is not what it looks like. I'm cheating on him, he is my cat boy." Gerald said, "I'm divorcing you and taking the house." Hugo, Spevy, Cheesy, and Space Wolf have gone on a mission. They took the hazmat suits and exited the bunker into the woods towards the other bunker down west. They made the trip safely and knocked on a door that said Project Human. A man with a wide smile came to answer the door named Sussicle. He was almost too kind and a little strange, slightly fake-like. He has a customer service worker-like wide smile and voice as he says, "Hello, who do you happen to be? I am Sussico." Hugo said, "We're survivors from another bunker." Spevy said, "I am autistic." Space Wolf punches Sussico. He falls to the floor, and while getting up he says, "Wow, looks like you hit me pretty hard. What a punch." Space Wolf said, "I'll hit you harder next time. Let us in." Sussico said, "Please come in. We take new people in with pleasure." Hugo said, "May we know what this place is?" Sussico said, "This place was designed to assist fellas like you. We are here to serve you and help you on your way." Space Wolf kicked him in the nuts. Sussico falls to the floor and says, "Ouchie, you only got one though." Then Sussico brought them into the bunker's main area. As they arrived to the main room, they were met with 50 more of these wide-smiled people, and from the crowd emerged their leader, Charismatica, a man with a pink suit, pink sparkly pants, and a purple top hat. He moves by dancing and spinning like a ballerina, while taking his hat off in a very showman way. They started a musical piece for the players, dancing and singing around. The song was called "Even in the Dark, We Are Here to Help You," their own song. He comes and wraps his arm around their necks.
In the darkness, alone, is there no other humans there for you? Do you miss the times when you got along with the robot family you had? Well, listen to us. Just remember the good times. Join us in this wonderful dance. Even when times are tough and you're in ruins, just remember the good times. Did you forget how good of a friend the clanker can be?
Charismatica swings his arm and says, "What a joy, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed our own little special show designed for you. Now, my friends, tell me what brought you here. Hugo said, we come in search for food. Charismatica said, someone go look, don't we have food? I don't remember. Ha ha, silly me. My name is Charismatica, by the way. Cheesy said, I still have my sword and dagger out. The uncanny creeped the fuck out of me. Then Charismatica gave them a few cans of vegetables. Hugo asked, why are you all so happy? We've had misery, chaos, and an old lady kill a couple of people in our bunker. What's your secret? Charismatica does a ballerina spin and says, we keep optimism up even in times of darkness, when only shadows roam in the forgotten lands. We don't forget that there is always light. We have fun. Hugo said, that's not an answer. That's an inspirational poster. Charismatica asked, where do you come from? Do you have a place you call a home? Cheesy said, bunker. Charismatica said, we are always able to come for your assist. Anytime, really, friends, right? We should come to check you are okay in your home right away. What do you say, new friends? Space Wolf said, we have Nazis at home. You will be killed on sight. They were hesitant and only decided to let him come. They seemed to not be bothered by being insulted, abused, and hurt, instead, reacting to it in light-hearted, friendly, and playful ways. They searched every room of the bunker, but all they found was theater stuff and props, plus cleaning equipment. Space Wolf also got an immunity trophy. They eventually did another musical song called Remember the Good Times. Then the crowd said goodbye and spoke in unison as they left with Charismatica, who they duct-taped. They carried him back home to the bunker and duct-taped him to the bottom of a bunk bed, shutting his mouth and moving it into the goon hut. The original residents, the Nazis, seemed bothered by the new people in their bunker. Especially their leader Alpha was pissed off due to them no longer being the majority and losing control. Wynn still has terrible stomach pain and is in the hospital recovering. This is due to the alien snake crawling inside him at the spaceship earlier. Then some of the players met Detective Sexanal for the first time. They see him walking with a pistol in the hallway past them. He has a blue leather jacket that is open, revealing a hairy chest. He has a cop-styled self-made hat. He has sunglasses. He is a drunk, always wasted. Perma said, ain't no way, bro. They brought Mr. Sex to the merge, my messiah. If I had met this man earlier in my life, I wouldn't have turned to the cult. Then the drunken man from Tribe B, Jeffrey, has shown himself. He was seen drunk walking into the privacy room. Other Tribe B NPCs, Chad, Jack, and Lily were walking together in the hallway, carrying Lily's parents' ashes to their new room in the bunker. Postal started to challenge them. Postal challenged Chad into a fight. The drunken Chad dropped everything to the ground, including Lily's mom's ashes, and got his fists ready for a fight. He got 5 centimeters away from Postal, not breaking eye contact, dominating him, but Postal punched him out with one punch to the liver, and he passed out. Jack dropped everything on the ground Oswell, including Lily's father's ashes, to try to calm Postal down. Postal, however, walked away from the scene, and they took Chad to rest. Then it was time for alliances to form in the merge. The first one was the Cult Goon Alliance, which consisted of Perma, Lean, Cameron, Spevy, Space Wolf, and Postal. Postal asked, who are we definitely not voting for? Perma said, us lot, Pato and Cheesy. That's off the top of my head, though. The two options I think are Hugo and Wynn. Postal said, I'm thinking about voting Hugo. Perma said, I'm down to go for Hugo. Postal asked, is Pato not in the Goon Alliance? Perma said, Pato is, but we had a plan to stay as separate groups. That way if someone wants to go against us, they'll be likely to side with Pato, and he will out them to us, and we'll do the same. Space Wolf said, I'd say Hugo. I agree with Lean and Perma. Then Lean and Gerald formed an one-on-one alliance. Lean said, greetings, old friend. Last season, the Cocaine Crusaders were done dirty by Quarter and his cronies. That ain't gonna happen this time. Gerald said, oh yeah, we crushed this season. Lean asked, "Who are you allied with?" Gerald said, "My OG tribe are trustworthy except Hugo. He was with Quarter, so he's iffy." Then another big alliance was formed that consisted of Pato, Cheesy, Gerald, and Lean. Lean said, "Quarter goons are definitely to be taken out first, Win and Hugo. Are any of you allied with a really cool person? If not, we should really try to get them on our side, because then we would be even with Cult Goon." Gerald said, "I can make a really cool person one-on-one. Be good to have many peoples." Pato said, "Maybe we take them down early, the Goon Cult Alliance." Gerald said, "Oh, by the way, Lean is chill and didn't betray me. He can be trusted." Lean said, "I am a sworn enemy of Quarter and the Goon Cult, which is our greatest threat." The members of the Alliance agreed on voting Win for tomorrow, due to him having ties to Quarter, but to fool the other Alliance, they decided that Lean would vote Hugo with the Goon Cult Alliance to keep the illusion up that he is loyal to them. Then Pato and Perma formed an one-on-one alliance, as they were both leaders of their alliances, so the goal was to keep unity and share info through their alliance. Perma said, "Okay, I got a good idea for an alternate deal that'll do us better. We do ally the same. However, we keep separate. If we're multiple different powers in the server, then it's more likely we'll get different groups coming up to us to feed info. That way we can protect each other as well as route out possible traitors in each of our groups easily. We can protect each other and work together, but on the outside, unless you're one of our most trusted, it just seems that we're separate neutral teams." Pato said, "Alright, I have an idea. We can team up for now and early merge. It's going to be a big superiority, and we as leaders could very easily dominate this merge." Perma said, "Pretty much, yeah." Then there were other smaller one-on-one alliances formed, such as one between Pato and Gerald, one between Pato, Cheesy and Gerald, then one between just Pato and Cheesy, then one between Win and Cheesy, which Pato and Cheesy planned so that they can try to recruit Win. There was an alliance between Spevy and Hugo as well. There was also the Piss Crystals Alliance, which was for Tribe C members, Lean, Perma, and Cameron. There was an alliance between Spevy and Pato too. As can be seen, a shit ton of alliances were created during the first day of merge. Lots of them were created with people of either their main group alliance or an opposing alliance, sometimes an outcast, to try to spread wings and build connections. As previously seen, currently there are two main forces in the game, whose public leaders are Pato and Perma, who swore to each other to keep the alliances at peace and to work together to eliminate the outsiders. Perma's side was Lean, Cameron, Postal, and Space Wolf. Pato's side was Lean, Cheesy, and Gerald. Outsiders were Hugo, Win, and a really cool person. As can be seen, Lean is in both alliances. That is where the loyalty between Pato's promise to Perma fell apart, as Perma and his allies didn't know that Lean was also in the other alliance, plotting against them, his tribe mates. There was no voting today to let people settle in. Next vote is tomorrow on day 8.